Yep, it's going to be a Thopter Spy Network. But Christina's going to follow it up with a Siege Rhino, I would imagine. But she does now have a Dromoka's command. So if I remember how Thopter Spy Network works, it says in your upkeep, if you control an artifact, get a 1/1 Thopter. If Christina pays attention and notices the Darksteel Citadel, which I'm sure she will, she'll know that right now she can't shut Joe off of the Thopter Spy Network. Thopter Spy Network has another ability, and I am sad to say that I don't know it off the top of my head. But I will be able to tell you in a second. It's 2 blue at the beginning of your upkeep. Put a 1/1 Thopter into play if you control an artifact. And whenever one or more artifacts you control deal damage to a player, draw a card. Combat damage specifically, just in case there's a fling or something involved. So Christina has Crux of Fate, Siege Rhino, Land, Dromoka's Command, and that's either a... I can't honestly tell you. I think it's a Drown in Sorrow, maybe. It's going to gain life up to 15 life from the Courser trigger. It's going to scry that one to the bottom and flip up a Thoughtseize. Not exactly what you want to see here, but it's not as terrible as it could be. And is this going to be a Siege Rhino? Nope, it's going to be a Dromoka's Command. Yeah, I don't know if she notices the... Wait. Oh, and then she's going to fight. I forgot Dromoka's Command kills an enchantment. Wow, I'm so sorry. I'm being a terrible, terrible commentator this evening. Yeah, that blew Joe out a little bit. He knew it was on top, too, so it's surprising, extra surprising, that he played out the Thopter Spy Network. I thought that she was just going to clear the token away. I forget you get 2 modes off the commands. Those commands are really good, especially the 2-mana ones. He's going to get in there for 3. Or 2, it looks like. It was 3 with the +1. Joe Lucas, on the bottom of your screen, is currently up 1-0 in this match. He won the first game off a Days Undoing into a Shrapnel Blast. And he's going to play a Hangerback Walker for 1. And I think he's debating on roasting. He can hold it for the Rhino, which Christina does have. He has not seen one off the top, so he would have to assume that she just had that in her hand or the first 2 draws. So if he roasts here, I don't know if it's right or not, but I think that you almost have to, as you don't want to see her getting more and more cards with that Courser. So an attack for what I believe is 2 is going to happen, knocking Christina down to 13. And Christina's going to untap and draw, and she's going to draw that Thoughtseize. Now, she could lead with the Thoughtseize into a Siege Rhino, which is not the worst play in the world, actually. It's going to knock her down to 11, but up to 14. So, yeah, Thoughtseize is going to come down. She's going to get rid of what I would think maybe there's an argument for Pia and Kira Nalar, but the Shrapnel Blast is probably going to leave Joe's hand. Joe does not currently have double red. So she does take the Pia and Karan Nalar, and follow it up with the Siege Rhino, going up to 14 life. And Joe will... Nope, that is Languish. I am very, very bad. That was exactly what that card was. So 2 and a black, 2 black, give all creatures -4/-4. Clears out the Hangerback, leaves Joe with just the 1/1. He's going to get in there, knocking Christina down to 10. And Christina's certainly going to follow that up with... That's Chief Engineer. Gives all your artifact spells Convoke for 1 and a blue, and it's a 1/3. So Christina gets to follow it up with a Siege Rhino, which is so nice. They named it twice, but nope. She's going to just keep the Rhino, go down to 5. So right now Joe wins if he top decks a Shrapnel Blast, because he does have a thing. Joe is going to eat 1 down to 17 life to cast it, I think. Joe's going to pass it back. Rhino, nothing to the response, or nothing to the trigger on the stack. So right now the life total should be 8 to 15, and they are. Or actually, it should be 8 to 14. Because I think Joe missed the shrapnel blast damage from the one thing. So we're going to have a Darksteel Citadel attack, and Christina is going to take it, going down to 3 life. Pass back. She's going to draw another Siege Rhino. There it is. That's what she wants. She goes up to 6. Joe's going to go down to 12. Assuming this Rhino connects, he's going to go down to 8. And that Rhino is going to connect. Just going to untap and draw. See what he gets. That's a Chief Engineer, not what he wants to see. So I think he just has to attack. Force Christina to block. I think she has to block this one. No, she just takes it, goes down to 1. I guess either way. Yeah, I guess that what you want to do is maybe just keep the pressure on. And if he has it, he has it. He hasn't had it so far. So, for example, now she just has lethal. Assuming that he doesn't have an Unsummon or Vapor Snag, I think she drew a Hero's Downfall. She's going to attack with both. So I'm going to let her block, and then she can downfall. And the trample damage will all go through. All 8 will go through, and we are going to go to a Game 3 with Joe on the play as... yeah, Christina gets that one. We're going to go to an epic Game 3, and they're both going to probably review their sideboards to make sure that they're doing everything in their power to play the best game of Magic in this matchup as they can. And while they do that, I'm going to keep going with what I was doing earlier. I was talking about the awesome Pro Tour in Vancouver, and I was finished at 5th place. I believe I was going on 5th place, who was Kentaro Yamamoto. He was the fellow playing Abzan Megamorph, so he was featuring the likes of Deathmist Raptor and Den Protector. He was also playing the new Languish card, which is very good. We saw Christina wipe out a bunch of creatures there. It was important for her to keep the board clear when she could and then follow it up with the big fatties. And as you see, Christina played that absolutely correct. And especially as I forgot what Dramoka's command did myself. So, yeah. Languish is a very good Magic card, turns out. He actually sideboarded Heralds of Torment. That's interesting. That's a little different. We haven't seen that before. It's pretty awesome to give your Rhinos flying. In 6th place, we had Stephen Neal playing Mono Red Aggro. And he also was playing Abbot of Carol Keeps in Exquisite Firecrafts. I keep calling it Fireblood, and I read it this time, and it is Firecraft. So if you have Exquisite Firecrafts or Abbot of Carol Keeps, they are now $10. Just like, I believe Hangerback Walker is like $18 or $20. And if you haven't saw, these Zendikar... Battle for Zendikar is not going to have fetch lands. So all of the Zendikar fetches from the first Zendikar set spiked. Misty Rainforest and Scalding Tarn are both in the $80 to $100 range now. But they did announce that we are going to get textless basics again. Full art basics. So that is pretty awesome, and I'm excited to get those in the booster packs. 7th place of the Pro Tour was Patrick Cox, also playing Mono Red with Abbot of Carol Keeps and Exquisite Firecrafts. And to wrap it all up, we had Stephen Barrios playing Blue-Red Thopters. And it is very similar, except he played P and Kieran Nalaar. This looks actually very similar to Joe's list. So we'll see how close it is, as I do think Joe actually picked up the Tomb of the Spirit Dragons for this today. So, looks like Joe's going to mulligan. Christina's thinking on it. She has a Thoughtseize on the play, or on the draw, I'm sorry. So it's okay, it's just not as good as it could be, especially if she has to play a tapped land on turn 1. And it's way more important to like get your mana available than maybe like stripping out their best card. Maybe not. Maybe I'm crazy. I haven't really played in a while, so I am pretty rusty. As you saw from that last game, I said some things that might be a little silly, as I just did not fully realize what was happening in the game. But usually I get my way there, especially after I talk it out loud. I catch myself and I change subjects a lot, but it's usually, that's just the way that I'm able to figure things out. Everybody's different, and it's good that everybody's different. Everybody's the same. What's the point, right? So Joe's going to check out his 6, and it looks like that one's better than his 5 was, though it's still not great. He doesn't have a red source, but I think he's going to keep this one. Citadel pass. If he draws an Insult Artifact, that's a very good start for Joe. Thoughtseize going to come down. Christina's going to take 3. She has a Lenora Waste as her land. Going to see a Chief, a Engineer. I think that's a Stubborn Denial. And 2 Islands for Joe. And I think, yeah, you have to take the Chief Engineer. It's the only castable card at the moment, other than the Stubborn Denial, but that one does not matter as much. An Island's going to come down for Joe, leaving him with an engineer, a Thopter Engineer, a Stubborn Denial, and an Island, along with the unknown card that he drew for turn, which looks like... It looks like an Insult Artifact, but I'm not sure it was. He's going to draw an Insult Artifact for certain on that one. Maybe it was. Insol's going to suit up that, and Darksteel Citadel, and it's going to swing in there for 5, knocking Christina down to 12. Well, maybe. Marked it on the screen. So right now Christina's at 17. I wouldn't necessarily say this is trash, as these are decks that are very similar to the decks played at the Pro Tour that all placed in the top 8. So I wouldn't necessarily say they're trash standard decks. If you don't like standard, that's fine, but the decks themselves are not trash. So if this if this Darksteel Citadel with Insult Artifact connects, it'll knock Christina down to 11. And with half her life total going, that is very good for Joe to see. He does need to draw some red mana here. Dromoka's command is going to come down, and Christina's going to lose 1. It's going to sacrifice an enchantment and give a creature +1/+1 until end of turn. Maybe a +1/+1 counter. But if so, it doesn't do anything, as it has to be a creature in order to attack. Going to pass and draw for turn from Joe. Christina only has 1 black source, so here's Downfall is dead in her hand right now. She can't Abzan Charm to draw cards. She's at 15, so that's not too far out of the question. Insult Artifact. Nope, that's a Chief Engineer. I thought it was going to be an Insult Artifact. I apologize. Chief Engineer is going to resolve and stay in play. Christina's going to knock the top of her deck and draw what looked like another Dromoka's command. Fetchland's going to be cracked, putting Christina down to 14. Once again, Christina is at the top of your screen playing Abzan, along with Joe at the bottom of your screen playing blue-red artifacts. Both of these decks look fresh out of the Pro Tour, though these players were playing them the Friday I guess it was the Friday of the Pro Tour coverage. But Joe has been playing this deck since Origins, and Christina's been on Abzan for a long time. So it's just natural that they would switch it up a little bit and not really switch it up at all. So a Siege Rhino is going to be off the top with the Courser. Looks like Christina has Tasigur, Abzan Charm, a Downfall, maybe a Languish in her hand. Chief of the Foundry is going to come down to pump Joe's artifacts +1/+1, but all he has in play is the Citadel right now. It's either going to be Languish time, which does clear 2 creatures, or it's just Rhino time. Yeah, I like the Rhino. So 17 to 17, because it's a huge life gain. Joe is wanting to not be out of this game, but unfortunately for him, it might be that way, as I think Christina has another Siege Rhino in her hand. Maybe not. No, I can't tell what the card is on the bottom. I think it is a Siege Rhino. So, assuming that is a Siege Rhino, she has double Rhino, which is not great for Joe. As I have not marked it on here, she is up to 17. And Joe is going to untap and pass, as he still does not have a red land in sight. Doesn't look like Christina has another land, but she just has another Rhino. So I think you have to attack, see what Joe does, and then follow it up with another Rhino. Joe's probably just going to take it because of the trample. So Joe's going to go down to 13. He's going to go down to 10, followed by the second Rhino. Assuming that's Christina. She can also play Tasigur, maybe.